Hi there, and welcome to Steps Together, the Steps for Development podcast, where we come together to learn and build our own skills so that we can help the children in our lives to thrive and succeed. I'm your host, Deb Johnson, and I'm so glad you're here. No matter what your role is in a child's life, you've come to the right place to learn about child development and kids who are differently wired. Here, you'll learn about the whys behind behaviors, practical strategies that really make a difference, and how to advocate and support all children as you become empowered with tools and skills that bring lasting change. As I'm recording today's episode, we are well into the very end of this calendar year, which means the holiday season is in full swing. No matter what holidays you celebrate, the end of a calendar year is filled with joyful times, lots of celebration, a little bit of chaos, maybe a lot of chaos, and stress. This is a challenging time for all of us. We're all faced with the challenges of changes in our routines and our schedules, the extra demands that are put on us with holiday time. So I want to acknowledge that this is an extremely stressful time for our neurodivergent kids and for those of us adults who are neurodivergent as well. These times are particularly stressful because we very often struggle with reduced flexibility. We have an increased need for predictability and consistency. Those of us with neurodivergence may have lower tolerance for stress or just different stress levels. Um, and we may experience stress even at all the joyful things. It's important to remember that stress is a neutral concept. So, yes, we are stressed by the bad stress of things like having to travel at holiday time or having to entertain and accommodate visitors into our home. But we're also stressed by the excitement, by just the joy of a visit from Santa, of the idea of connecting with friends and family that we maybe haven't seen for a long time. So, how do we handle this stress? Well, I want to focus today on the preparation, the proactive steps that you can take starting right now that will bring calm out of that chaos. How can you create this air of calm and joy and the space for connection and to just be able to really enjoy this time of year on your own terms? The key is being proactive, not reactive, and taking steps to prepare so that the holidays are smoother for yourself, your child, and everyone around you. So let's first focus on why this is so very, very important. Part of the Steps for Development model is this general concept of being proactive, of empowering ourselves with the skills and the tools to be very proactive as we approach a potentially stressful situation. Again, no matter what the reason, stressful because of joy or stressful because of anxiety, it doesn't matter. So, why does this proactive approach work? Why is it so important? Well, first and foremost, it focuses on what you can control. You can't control the behavior of all the people around you, let alone your child's behavior, but you can control your own preparedness. You can control how you go into a situation in terms of your expectations and your plan for how this is going to go. You can shift from heading into a situation that is stressful by sort of heading into it thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible, sort of ready for a crisis, right? Um, and instead of being geared up for this is going to be awful, you can head into it with, I have every intention of chilling out, relaxing, modifying my expectations, making sure my expectations are rooted in reality, and allowing myself the grace to make mistakes and knowing that there are things that are going to happen that are beyond my control, but that I'm heading into this situation with the tools and the knowledge that I need to make it as successful as possible. So when you head into these potentially chaotic situations, focusing on what you can control and shifting your mindset to realistic expectations and grounding yourself in the knowledge that you have the tools and the skills to manage this situation, it just naturally reduces your own stress level. It brings you down so that you go in with clarity and confidence instead of being already in a heightened state of dysregulation where you're anticipating how bad is this going to be? Like just that feeling of, oh, we've got to go to this family party. My child is going to be overwhelmed. And I just know this is going to go poorly. When you bring your stress level down, it then supports your child's emotional regulation. It gives your child a sense of stability and security. Remember from the episode where I've talked about co-regulation, that when you are stressed and anxious, it's contagious, and your child and your partner and the people around you are feeling that stress as well. So by gearing up to be proactive and reducing your own stress, you're just naturally supporting the co-regulation and reducing the stress level of all those around you, especially your neurodiverse child who may be really anxious and stressed themselves heading into this exciting time of the year. As you plan and prepare and you put those strategies and tools in place, it is going to reduce your child's anxiety because now you've prepared them, giving your child the preparation, giving your child clear expectations. It greatly reduces their stress and increases their sense of safety as you prepare them for all the changes that are going to be taking place over the next several weeks. And at the end of it all, you and your child are both going to feel empowered, feeling that you can go into these stressful times, you can navigate all the changes in your routines and your schedules and all the changes in expectations that are present. Feeling empowered and strengthened by the plan that you've put into place, that you are going to stay grounded with and implement with confidence and calm. Once you understand how this proactive planning matters, you can really embrace this mindset. And again, this mindset shift, that proactive, is so much more important than reactive solutions or reactive strategies of what do I do when the outburst occurs. You embrace this mindset, your energy is going to go into the planning and the preparation, not the stress of having to react when everything goes wrong. Your child is having a meltdown. People are yelling at each other. The core of Steps for Development is to put the plans in place to avoid and eliminate those outbursts, those meltdowns, those arguments, to just reduce that stress all the way around. We are going to meet our children where they're at. We're going to use opportunities to teach skills. And we're just overall going to take a step back to be calm and collected as we head into what can just be a really chaotic and stressful time of our lives. So let's dive into what it takes to be prepared for this holiday season. The first step I'm going to recommend is that you identify the key routines, the key strategies, the key things that are in place already that provide your child with anchors. What is it that is already working and crucial for your child's well-being and your own mental health and well-being? Maybe that is things like sleep routines. What is your child's sleep hygiene like? Maybe you already know they have got to be in bed by 8 o'clock, or we're going to have a terrible time the next day. That is probably a routine that you do not want to lose over the holidays. Maybe one of the things that keeps your child grounded and anchored is regular meal times or specific types of foods. You want to make sure you hang on to those through this holiday season. What are the reset strategies that work for your child and for yourself? Hang on to those. If you know that you and or your child can really only benefit and participate well from maybe 2 hours of social interaction time, right? 3 hours is way too much. We're going to be on overwhelm, and it's going to take us 2 days to recover. Then focus on limiting your socialization to those 2-hour time slots. Just know ahead of time that you need to stick to that routine. Think about the people in your child's life who are most regulating. Who are the co-regulators for your child? Make sure that your child is still going to have time to connect and co-regulate with them. If it's you, your partner, a grandparent, hopefully you can identify at least 2 people, yourself and one other, so that you have a tag team approach to supporting your child through this challenging time. And last, identify what are the activities, the toys, the specific things that your child relies on for comfort. Maybe these are sensory tools and strategies. Maybe it's movement. Maybe it's quiet time, maybe with you or another adult. Maybe it's quiet time on their own. Maybe it's an opportunity to do their own solitary repetitive play. And we just need to allow them that opportunity to reset. Maybe it's bath time or a story at bedtime. Make a list of all the things that are crucial, the things that are your child's anchors, and do not compromise on those through the holiday period. The next step that I'm going to recommend is that you do plan ahead. Now, this may be challenging if you, with your own neurodiversity, are not a planner and you are not an organizer. I'm going to suggest organizing and planning, and how you do this needs to be consistent with what works for you. And maybe you need to ask another adult to help out. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's an adult sibling, maybe it's just an older sibling, somebody who is good at organizing and planning. And maybe you aren't able to look at a family calendar for the next 8 weeks, but you are able to look at it 1 week at a time. Or maybe it's just a few days at a time. Whatever it is that works for you, what I want you to do is to look at what is on the agenda. What do the next few days look like? If you can look at the next 8 weeks, that's amazing. Do that. Grab a calendar, grab a planner, a journal, a digital calendar, get it down so that you can see visually what it is that is going to be impacting your daily routines. What days are special events scheduled for? When are the school breaks? When are visitors going to be staying at your house or coming into town? When are you traveling? When are you going to somebody else's house? When is the schedule going to shift for who's, in the home or who's not? When are there likely to be late nights that are going to disrupt your child's sleep schedule? When is your child going to be exposed to new environments that might be very challenging for them? Get it all down. Again, use a calendar, a daily planner, a journal, a digital calendar, put it on a spreadsheet, make an Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheets, whatever it is that is going to work for you. And I want you to include dates and details of what the change is going to be. Again, to whatever degree you're capable of in terms of identifying the details of the changes. Some of those details might be who's being impacted. And it might mean details about specific travel times or deadlines, right? Like we have to be at so-and-so's house at 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Or we have to be at the airport by such and such a time. And then I want you to go back over all of these things, these changes that are going to happen, and somehow flag the situations that are going to be the most stressful and the most disruptive. Those are going to need your utmost attention. They're going to need more proactive planning, more strategies in place, more clear expectations and thoughtfulness than some of the others. So star or highlight those situations where you think these are going to be particularly challenging for you, your child, your family, etc. So examples of what you might be putting on this, let's just say you're using a spreadsheet, is the date of the day before Thanksgiving and that the kids are off school all day. So right there is a significant change. Their routine is going to be completely off. And then also the change is that you are off work that day, or you're going to be responsible for prepping Thanksgiving because you're hosting Thanksgiving the next day. So now you not only have the kids off school, you're off work, maybe your partner is home as well. So the whole day is going to feel like a holiday, but you've got a whole bunch of work that you need to get done that day. That's a significant change in routine, and it's going to require some planning. And maybe another example would be that you're traveling for the weekend and you're going to be staying at a grandparent's house. And maybe that's an unfamiliar setting for your children. They only go there once or twice a year. Or maybe it's that over winter break, you're going to be having some guests staying at your house and they're going to be around for an entire week. And they have young children that they are bringing into your home. And so now the whole routine is going to be thrown off. And you need to figure out strategies for maintaining your child's routine while accommodating the routine and the needs of other children that are coming into your home. All of these things on a daily basis, I would encourage you to make note of so that you have the opportunity to plan well in advance, especially for those that you're highlighting as being more stressful. Then what I want you to do, step 3, is to look at each of the stressful situations. Look at each of those times that are going to be changing. So maybe let's just take the example of the day before Thanksgiving or the day before any of the holidays, that there's going to be a bunch of changes in routine as you and your family prepare for the holiday that's coming next. You want to ask yourself some problem solving, solution focused questions. And here's some example of the questions I want you to ask yourself. How can I help my child stick to their routines as best as possible throughout this situation? Can we adhere to those daily anchors without disruption and still complete the changed routine, still complete the demands of that day while my child is able to hang on to their anchors? If we can't keep those anchors, what are the strategies I can put into place to help my child adapt to the change? What can I do? How much notice do they need? How much advanced preparation? Am I going to put it on their schedule? Am I going to use visual timers? Am I going to do social stories? That kind of an approach to help them prepare for what's going to happen. What comfort or co-regulation strategies can I put into place? Where can I carve out time to connect and co-regulate so that my child can stay calm and organized? Where can I build in the strategies for co-regulate or the strategies for regulation? Where can I build in their movement strategies, their quiet time, their time for connection, so that if they start to escalate, I'll be able to grab that and bring them back down off that mountain before they get too high. How can I communicate what my child needs to others? How can I best explain that, yes, you're coming to visit at my house, and I know that my kids' cousins or their friends are coming. However, my child will not be able to stay up late past their bedtime. Bedtime is 8 o'clock, and we need to stick to that routine. How do I communicate that to the other adults and the other children that we need to do this? And how do I support myself with putting reminders on the calendar, putting the supports and things in place to remind me to do the things that are crucial and important for this plan to be implemented? And how do I include time for my own self-care, my own rest, and finding joy in those moments where we're celebrating with others, and even through the preparation, right? Remember to do this on a week by week or day to day approach. It doesn't so much matter that you plan for all 8 weeks ahead of time. It matters that you do it in a thoughtful, intentional way that really works for you and your family. It's about balance and preparation, not perfection. We're going to put some things in place, and our hope is that our proactive planning is going to pay off and it's going to be successful. At the same time, we're going to give ourselves a whole lot of grace that maybe our best intentions don't work out. Why? Because things happen that are out of our control. So the final step of the planning piece is to review and adjust. And whether this is on a weekly basis or a daily basis, you're going to look ahead and see what's coming and adjust based on where is everybody now. Because as we move through this end of the year, the stress is going to be there and it may build exponentially. And then you're going to need to adjust your plan. Let's say that you planned for 4 weeks out. However, over the course of the next 4 weeks, the stress does build and things get more crazy for you. Maybe some plan didn't work. Maybe your child didn't get to bed on time. Maybe your child's their meal routine has completely changed. Maybe your child has become so overwhelmed by visitors and the changes in the schedule that you find 4 weeks from now, you just need to adjust. Well, pull on that superhero in you, pull on your own superflex, right? That's a superhero we encourage our children to embrace, that we can be flexible, we can adapt and change. So you're going to need to do that as you move through this holiday season. And ask yourself, maybe at the end of each day, what went really well today? This is part of that reflect and repair process that was on a prior episode here, where I was talking about the need to review what went wrong. Ask yourself, well, was that in my control or out of my control? How can I learn from what happened today or yesterday or last week and tweak it for what I want to do for tomorrow? And by all means, keep it simple. This is not the time to be changing a bunch of habits, trying to build new routines, trying to ask your child to adhere to new expectations. You don't need to worry about taking advantage of teachable moments. Your focus over the holidays is stress reduction and finding calm. So focus more on co-regulation and connection, and not so much, how do I correct my child? How do I teach? How do I build on the skills? We can go back and look at that later. Right now, we want to focus on the calm. We want to focus on the connection. And so we want to try to stick to routines, put strategies in place that we know that are going to work, make a plan, pull from your support system and ask for help as you implement those plans. And above all, practice self-compassion and resilience. You're going to need your own self-regulation in order to put all these plans into place. You're going to need to feel confident and empowered. So practice some affirmations for yourself as you are planning and organizing to get yourself, your child, your family through what might be a really hectic time, maybe a very emotional time. So here are some examples of affirmations that you could say to yourself. Number 1, I can only plan for what I think will happen. There's always going to be unexpected situations that are out of my control. Number 2, I control my actions and my behaviors, not my child's and not anybody else's. I can choose my responses. Number 3, if I get dysregulated, I know I can reset and start again. If my child gets dysregulated, I know I have the skills and ability to co-regulate with my child and help them reset as well. Number 4, flexibility helps everyone to adapt and regulate to change. I can pull on my own superflex and be a hero through this holiday season. So remember, preparation does not mean perfection. It means being ready with your toolbox, being prepared for what might occur, and being ready to respond with intention and compassion. Keep in mind as you move through the holiday season and through this end of the year time that holidays bring with them a tremendous amount of excitement and stress, both of which can be managed when we approach them with intention and purposeful planning. You can't control the chaos. You can't control everything around you, but you can control your own mindset and your own preparation. Being proactive supports your regulation and your child's sense of security and their self-regulation. Every ounce of effort that you put into planning the days ahead is going to pay off exponentially with fewer meltdowns, smoother transitions, and more meaningful memories. I am not going to lie and tell you that planning and getting through these next several weeks is going to be easy. But I am going to tell you that if you follow these steps, right, if you identify what needs to be adhered to, what really does work, and if you map out where the changes are going to be so that you can develop your plan for how to navigate those challenging situations, and then you are consistent in reviewing and adjusting and being flexible yourself, you are going to find that you can create some calm out of what is normally a whole bunch of chaos. I am going to put a link in the description of this podcast and on my Facebook and Instagram pages. I will throw up a link to a downloadable PDF that has all these steps and the affirmations. So you'll have that to be able to refer to long after you've listened to this podcast. I know I gave you a whole lot of information, and I really want to support you through what can be a really challenging time for all of us. I am really glad you joined me today, and I hope you'll join me for the next episode. In the next episode, we're going to talk about how to adhere to your plans. How do you follow through with your plans and implement what you know to be right that's going to work for your child and for you and your family, even when you face challenges from others, those well-meaning adults who maybe just don't get it or who just have those very strong opinions about what you should or shouldn't do with your child. So come back for that episode. Thanks for joining me today. If you are liking what you hear on this podcast, I really hope that you'll share it with others who might benefit and encourage others to join us in building our own skills so that we can guide children and help them be successful in their lives. Follow me on social media. Sign up for my newsletter. You'll get alerts about podcasts and more tips and strategies in your inbox. Comment or send me a message. Let me know the successes you're having or share some of the challenges. I'd be more than happy to offer some support and even connect with you for some one-on-one coaching that could help you implement the Steps for Development model. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope to see you again on the next episode. Bye for now.